In today's post, I want to kind of back up a little bit. So I've been talking a lot about extreme themes, inconsistent look and feel, having navigation be hard on the eyes, all the different pieces there. But let's take a step back and actually kind of talk about where this comes from. And one of the basis of design and good layout is kind of understanding a little bit about color theory. Color theory is when you really understand what type of feelings, what type of response colors really invoke. And this is actually a field that has been studied for a really long time in a lot of organizations, especially if you pay attention to things like magazines, advertisements, and that. They actually know a lot about this, and we can learn some good lessons from this as well. So as you kind of see on the page in front of me, we kind of have a page here that has a lot of the primary colors there and a lot of the responses they evoke. So, the first and foremost is red. It's amazing how many times we use red wrong in our designs, because red is one of the top 2 favorite colors that people really enjoy. The problem is that red also has this connotation to it, which is caution, something's wrong, something needs to be looked at, and it really brings a lot to there. So red is the international color for stop. So we have to be really smart about the way we use red, and I'll give you a good example. I've seen this actually more times than not, where you see something like here in this form where you have the submit button, and the submit button's in red, and the green button is cancel, and you just see that, and there's that visual response that comes back that says, oh wait, that's not really the button I want to press. So that's actually really important to think about that. Orange evokes the taste of healthy fruits bursting with juices. It tends to think of vitamin C, good health. It's a symbol of autumn. It's the color of a lot of things in our visual daily lives, like life rafts, cones, police vests, all that kind of stuff. Orange is about making something stand out and be noticed. And I will tell you in this particular example, as you would see, orange is very, very noticeable. It's not necessarily used in a good way, but overall it is something that brings a lot of power to it and makes something stand out. And then we have yellow. Yellow represents warmth. It represents happiness. Really represents a lot of different things. There's a lot of philosophical things behind color of yellow and what it really means. Overall, yellow tends to have a very cautionary tale. One thing to note, especially in design, yellow is a really hard color to integrate as a really big piece of your color palette, because it's really hard to visually look at for a long period of time, because it has such extreme hue to it that tends to cause some problems. So a lot of times where we use colors like yellow is in accenting other colors to kind of add a little bit more life to it. Green obviously is the universal sign for go. It's used all over the world. It really is more complementary color to red, because you have it the whole red, yellow, green thing. But overall, one of the things is green kind of exudes this association with nature and with comfort, and green kind of has that kind of stuff. And then there's blue, and blue, especially on the internet, is the most overused color out there. There is just not a color that is more used than blue, and it is the #1 favorite color. I always make a joke that one of the things we always see in here is blue on blue on blue, which is one of the most famous color patterns for anything on the internet. Microsoft is definitely one of the biggest users of that. I'm going to talk a little bit later about things more around contrasting colors and some of the value that can bring into a situation. But overall, this is a very common color palette. It's a very safe palette because it's very easy on the eyes, but I also think that it's very overused. So really, in understanding these colors and how they're used and the value of them can really help us as we're actually going through an entire design process, and really kind of give us some thoughts on there. So in understanding them, you have some better things and some better practices you can use these colors for in the future.